Welcome to another episode of Career Library, the place where real people talk about real-life careers. Now let me introduce to you your host in the red trunks, weighing in at 220 pounds, the lean, mean, colorful commentator and intricate interviewer, the awesome and entrepreneurial Chris Hold the Phones, it's Jones. Welcome to another episode of Career Library. I'm your host, Chris Jones, and we have a special guest with us today, Jean Mbob. He's a pilot for one of the major airlines, and so excited to have him on and to interview him. So just introduce my guest here, Jean. And Jean, if you wouldn't mind just sharing with us a little bit about your background and how you grew up and, and that type of stuff.
Case, thank you for inviting me, and that's a wonderful question. Almost all the time being asked the same question because I have the accent. You already noticed that on the audience. So it's a pleasure for me to basically share my pathway here real quick. So I'm from Cameroon in Africa originally. So that was our born, and I've been in the US for 21 years. But one thing that brought me to the US was just chasing a dream, a childhood dream. And growing up, if I recall clearly, we didn't have the same opportunity growing up.
Okay.
So I basically have to work my way up, and the good thing is my parents always push for education. The number one on a family of four, so I have 3 siblings. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, life, I took 2 siblings away, so I'm just left with my younger sister. And again, I think that education and whatever the parents ingrain at the little age by showing us the right thing to do and the wrong thing to do, mm-hmm. you just build up from there and make decisions from there. And at the end, you're going to be successful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So did you get your grade school education in Cameroon or?
Yes, that's a good question. So when I came to the US, I joined the college at the junior level. So I brought almost all the way up to 2 years of university from outside that I converted to the U.S. system just to join the U.S. system at the junior level.
Okay. And then, so you're, I guess, what the equivalent of high school? High school in Cameroon, is it a lot like the high school here in the U.S. or is it a lot different? Or
it is a lot different.
Okay.
And if I have to probably make a statement today, mm-hmm. I think it was much easier for me when I got here because what I was learning back then, just think about you were in 2021 and Cameroon still used the book like in 1930, 35, where probably the science or the math or even if you learn English is kind of old and it's kind of really hard.
Okay.
Because the opportunities is not there. So what we learn is a big gap. So when I came here and I'm in college and I see my peers taking like algebra, mm-hmm. I learned this 6-7 years ago.
Okay,
so that's a gap right there.
So you had an advantage then.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So it was much easier for me coming from the outside. And I think talking to some people today is still a gap there. Folks that are coming from the outside are kind of advanced compared to the U.S. education system.
Okay. Yeah. And then coming from Cameroon, and did you know what you wanted to do when you came to the U.S. to go to university?
Yes. I mean, again, it's a childhood dream, and I always wanted to be a pilot. But initially, I was aiming to be like a doctor at the youngest age. Watching one show one day because I wanted to be a surgeon because I think what really attracted me was just the uniform. And back in the days, me growing up, now maybe today everything has changed. I see a lot of doctors with different type of color, but a surgeon in my culture or whatever I knew was the one wearing like a green uniform. And he was the top-notch guy, and I recall like watching the type of show like ER, emergency room in the States, where I don't want to say it's God, but everything gravitated around that person, and I want to be that person. But again, I was watching a show because that surgeon did so many surgery. He was young, I think he was around like 45 years of age, and he started having like a handshake kind of disease. He couldn't do surgery. I was like, that's too early to end his career. So I got to switch to something else. And then the pilot thing just come across my mind. I was like, yeah, that's nice. I want to be a pilot. Okay, so I know what to do, and I'm just gonna press on.
Yeah, I wanted to be a pilot when I was younger, and I just got some bad information.
Okay.
And so I wanted to go in the Air Force. I wanted to be a pilot. And the information that I had gotten from my high school counselor and a combination of my parents, and I think it was just ignorance on both the parts. I'm not saying they were stupid. They were just ignorant. They didn't know. And so the counselor at the school said I had to have a letter from a congressman and a senator from the state of Ohio endorsing me to go to the Air Force Academy. And the Air Force Academy was the only way that I could go. I could have no physical disabilities. I couldn't wear glasses, and I had to be, physically fit and this, that, and the other. And they made it seem like it was just virtually impossible. And so later on in life, of course, after having the wife and the kids, and later on just looking at it, I found out that, you don't need all that. And so kind of share with us your journey to becoming a pilot. And I know it was a long one for you. And so if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about that journey and what it took, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, it's a long journey. Again, it started in Cameroon. And for you to go outside, let's say you want to go have a higher education somewhere, you need to meet some criteria. So for me to probably come to the US saying, hey, I want to be a pilot in the US, I have to meet some criteria, because just for you, when you're looking at the immigration side of the business, to get a visa, say, hey, I want to come to university, they want to check your education background to make sure you meet the required minimums and stuff like that. So I meet all those requirements. Now, prior to that, I have not touched an airplane at all, so I have no clue. So I get to the US 21 years ago. Folks that I'm taking class, like a flying lessons, they're already ahead of me.
Okay.
Because they probably start at 16, they have access to go to any, what we call FBO, so fixed base operator. Around the airport, you have the major airport where passenger comes in, but sometime around you got like the business side of it, and you got the general aviation side of it. So everybody can walk in, you want to rent an airplane, just probably for a birthday. Guess what? People have access. I don't have that access in Cameroon. So I got to work my way through. So the technique that I use, I was going to college in Daytona Beach. The technique that I use next door to the college, it was an airport. And I got hired to work at the airport as just a regular customer service. So I did baggage handling, I did customer service, I was selling tickets like back in the days we were able to do that. It was not somewhere else like on the web or online where you buy your ticket by yourself. It was kind of old-fashioned way. So that would keep me engaged with my dream, because I could have get a job somewhere else, but that would disconnect me in terms of focusing. So that's what I did here when I was in the States. So now, usually it depends if you have the financial means, you can make it happen as quick as you want based on what you have in your pocket. That was not my case. So I have to work license after license. What I mean about that is like, okay, you want to be private pilot, for example. So you're going in, you say, okay, those are the requirements and this is how much it would cost. Okay. I step back, I go and work 6, 7 months, 9 months, raise that money, get that money, go do the flight, burn that money, get the license, and move on to the next deal again. So it takes you longer that way. But at the end of the day, when I'm sitting here today, for my peers that got done probably 5, 6 years prior to me, we're all the same. Because a license does not have something ingrained saying, okay, you know what? It took you 10 years, it took you 2 years to get this. This is your license. It's like a driver license. Some people are sharp enough to get the driver license at 16. Some people are waiting until 25. So again, it goes down to the individual, it goes down to motivation, it goes down to the determination you have, and what you really try to do for yourself. Because at the end of the day, I'm a parent today, but at the end of the day, I think that our role as a parent is to show to our kids the good, the bad. So they take that, and the world is open. My time, the world was not open. We didn't have no podcasts. We didn't have any internet that I can know exactly what happened on the other side of the planet. But today the communication is there. So the world is open. So whatever you decide to do, I think that if you put again the determination in that, you put all your energy, your strength, driven by whatever dream, whatever crossing your mind, you can see the bottom of it.
Absolutely. So, so it took you about 20 years, you would say, to get your combination of trying to pay everything, pay.
I mean, in terms of training, because you have 3 to 4 basic license, like any pilot can have. If I have to give a quick description, so everything starts with a private pilot license, and then followed by what we call instrument ratings. Because private, okay, you can fly when everything is beautiful, but now if you start raining and the visibility, you cannot see the sky, so you have to revert to something else. So you start looking at your instruments. So now you want to fly smoothly, you want to go to the airline, stuff like that, you got to grab a commercial license. So when you get your commercial license, back in the days, it was easy just to probably to start flying for the airline because the requirement, our minimum was not mandate after the issue that we have with the Colgan crash in Buffalo, New York. Right? So they raised the minimum for you to be able to join the airline, you need at least 1,500 hours in terms of experience. So the best route, that's the route I took, is to become an instructor. Because when you become an instructor, you stop paying for your license. Now you teach. You're just a teacher, you're teaching someone else.
Smart.
So you're gonna build your hours that way. And now the transition from that standpoint is to join the regional airline. So small commuter, 50-seater, 20-seater, 19-seater, you build your experience that way. So when you get done with that, now you're marketable to deal with the major airline.
Okay.
So you got choice, you just send your resume left and right based on the culture that you want to be in. And they like your paperwork, they will invite. Okay. You just have to go ahead and again and sell yourself.
Yes, sir. That sales is the key to life, I do.
Yeah.
just
sell yourself, tell them what you're capable, and they will listen to you and see if you will merge with the culture, if you meet what they are looking for.
So looking back, I know hindsight's 20/20. Looking back, if you could change the way you did it, what would you change, if anything?
Looking back, I mean, if I have to change something on my path, I mean, that's a really wonderful question. And I think that being in a state by myself, without parents, I don't want to say that hurt me because I already had, again, what I call the basic surviving tools that my parents gave to me. Okay, this is good. You can recognize that. This is bad. You can recognize that. But if I didn't have to deal with some extra things outside, because I know that, hey, daddy, you take care of that. Mom, you deal with that. You pay this bill. I'm just here. I go to school. I will be really effective and I will be really efficient. But I basically had to build all that.
Okay.
And it's not something happening overnight. It's not you come to a system saying, okay, you know what, you don't have mom or dad anymore to pay bills or to cook for you. Your only thing you have to do is to go to school. If I had that, I think I would achieve a lot of stuff as quick as possible.
Faster. Okay. So what would you recommend to our young listeners that are aspiring to be a pilot? They want to, they've flown in planes, they like the airlines, and they want to be where you're at today on one of the major airlines. What path would you tell them or advise them to take? And what may be some pitfalls or things that you thought was, when you were looking at it, that was glamorous to you that aren't so glamorous now, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, that's a wonderful question, Chris. One thing that I want to make sure that every dreamer understand, one thing, you don't have to rush. We didn't have time to do a lot of research in my time when I started this journey. So I would probably believe what I see or what I hear from any professional that is ahead of me or more experienced, because I didn't have something to verify whatever I was saying. So my advice, if I have to do that back again and technically change something on that specific area to be probably more efficient would be, number one, do a lot of research. You got a dream, you got to drive, you know exactly what you want. Do a lot of research. And then the second thing I would say, because being a pilot is just getting like a driver license. What I mean by that, based on what you try to achieve, because you're drawing your life, I don't have to come to you say, okay, how high you want to go with this? You got to know that. Now, if you tell me, hey, I want to be a professional airline pilot, now I will tell you, okay, for you to be a professional airline pilot, those are the requirements. Those are what the companies are looking for. Because again, you can be 16, but you know exactly what XYZ company is looking for because it's a public information. So if they ask you A, B, C, D, you got to go out there and look for A, B, C, D and bring that to their face.
And that's something that it's interesting that you point that out. That's something that I taught my children is, one, find out what the job pays, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I mean, you could love painting, but if you can't sell a painting, then you can't eat. You're literally a starving artist. And number two, find out what the company that you want to work for is looking for. They may not be looking for a 4-year degree. They may be looking for a 4-year degree in a very specific area with this kind of accolade on the side. And so finding those things out prior to allows you the opportunity to step ahead of the class. So that when you put this stuff on your resume, they go, okay, that's exactly the type of person we're looking for. And I think that a lot of that is lost in the career development in our day and age with the young folks.
I agree. Again, Chris, I reached the point where, I probably achieved what I want to do for my own life. So I got plenty of time. And what I usually do is go to speak to schools, either high school or middle schools. And I want to pick the brain to see where they're at the specific time of their life. So I'm not just going there shiny, looking good with a uniform, say, hey, I'm successful. I'm making $1 million.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I said, okay, where you at? Where you want to achieve? So I kind of help the teacher, I kind of help the system by educate or re-educate them just to have another point of view.
Right.
Okay. It's not just what they learn at the school. I grew up where, you live somewhere and I got my father and I got my mother. But I got probably 10 fathers. I probably have 10 mothers because you're learning from every single person around you in the area where you live, between your aunties. Like you take the whole entire village to raise a child.
Right.
And it's up to you to take every single advice or every single tricks that someone is giving to you and use it to be ahead of the game. Again, a pilot license, again, is like a driving license. That does not require to be Einstein.
Right.
I mean, I would call myself like I was Einstein coming to the US because we discussed about that whatever I learned,
right,
it was way before what they are learning here.
Right.
So I was ahead in terms of education. But the people that trained me, they were qualified in training, they were pilots. They didn't even have a degree like me. They didn't even have a background, educational background, coming from Cameroon, Africa.
Right.
I was book smart. I can eat them alive if it comes down to the book. But they were good, what we call stick and run. They were technical.
Okay.
And the good example today, I'm finding myself, okay, I own a house and, I can change the light bulb. That's easy. But when it comes down probably to go beyond the drywall and do something fancy, I'm not technical. I'm not a handyman. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I think I should have probably learned to be a handyman because then I got to call someone and pay someone.
Right.
When I could do that myself, right? Because those kind of training is the same thing like a pilot. Those kind of training is like, okay, use your hand and just steer left, steer right, and go up, go down.
Right.
So that's just the way I see that.
Good.
But again, at the end of the day, it depends what you want to achieve. This was my path. This is what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if someone wants exactly what I want, yeah, I can help you out. But if you want something different, yeah, I can give you advice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just what I see.
Absolutely. And then as far as expectations on finances, I know that you said that you were a training instructor for a little while, a regional airline pilot, and now you're a major airline pilot. Ballpark figures, I don't want to get into all your business, but could you share with our audience what is the realistic expectation of each of those positions as you move up the chain to commercial airline pilot?
Yes, that's not a big deal. I can share that. One thing that the audience not to understand, okay, they're probably young, they're probably 16, they're probably 17, some of them will understand, is the supply-demand game.
Mm-hmm.
Me growing up, I knew nothing about a supply-demand game. I knew that, hey, you want to be making a lot of money, you need to go to a major airline. Otherwise, you're not going to make any money. So during my pathway, that was exactly what was designed. So when you're an instructor, just think about you just a teacher teaching in middle school or high school. You probably earn $100. Now, if you move from the middle school or high school and you go and teach in college, guess what? You're gonna probably earn $500.
So you're $500 a week, $100 a day, or?
Yes, we in terms of flying, in terms of pilot, in terms of teaching, it goes by the hour. It's no salary.
Okay.
So whatever hour that you put in and you regulate by the Federal Aviation Administration, they say, okay, you can only work this much because of the safety of the public. You cannot overwork. It's no overtime. It's not such thing that you can just kill yourself for work. So you get paid by the hours, and then you got boundaries by
kind of like a truck driver.
Exactly,
you
because
can't
the
drive more than
DOT,
so many hours a week.
Department of Transportation, regulate how many hours you can drive per day, how many hours you can drive per month.
Same thing with flying.
Same thing, like a flying. So your earning initially will be really low.
Really low.
So I always advise anybody, don't come here because you look at the end result, and the end result will fool you. If you're not getting there, all the investment that you put prior to that is just lost. So I tell people, don't come in here because you want to make some money. Come in here because you're passionate. Come in here because you dream and you want to achieve that. By the time you get to your end result, everything just gonna
come into
place, and you can make a lot of money based on the demand and supply. Because if one of them in that equation is not aligned well, they can decide, hey, you know what, we pay you this much because we don't have the demand. What are you gonna do? You're gonna walk away? Yes, some people walk away because they were not passionate. They came in for the money. So they're gonna revert to something else because they have different skills. And that will not be my case.
So you're looking at $100 an hour as a trainer, and then as a bigger instructor, you're looking at $500 an hour.
So that was an example just on a teacher, but in terms of the right number, is hard to determine the right number because it really depends on the flight school, where you train, because
what would the range be?
The range be today, okay, I'm not gonna even say today because I will start putting some number out there that I'm not familiar with. So a good example, when I came in, as an instructor, I was making $17 an hour.
Wow.
Okay, we're talking about 2011, 2012. Just on the back end of the 2008-ish. Okay? So from there, my first job as a professional airline pilot, so joining the regional side of it, I was making $28 an hour.
That's amazing.
Okay? And then from there, I built up all the way, by the time I exit as a captain, the regional airline, I was at $71 an hour.
Okay.
Today, I'm about $175 an hour.
Okay.
And we keep growing if that supply demand equation is still aligned. Because at the end of the day, at the major or at the regional, you attach to unions.
Okay.
So if the company don't feel good, they're gonna go back to the table of negotiation, say, hey, we don't feel good. Usually it takes time, to find a common ground, and But if I stay, what I can tell most of the people, I mean, if you stay and your star keeps shining and you're lucky enough, I might probably end making like $400 an hour.
Wow.
By the time I hit the retirement.
But that's a long play.
That's a long play. Again, I don't think that is another industry unless you work for your own self, you become like a businessman and you're really successful and make those numbers spin at your speed or where you can control. It's something that I don't control, but I control the passion I have behind. And when the money comes out, cool. But I enjoy being passionate about aviation than the money.
Yes. So that's interesting. So how long does it take to get to your 1,500 hours?
Again, it depends what you have, what I call in your pocket. You got a financial meal, you can make it happen like in 2 years.
2 years.
Two and a half. Because that's the only thing you do. You just drink the Kool-Aid and you wake up in the morning, you go and do that.
And fly.
Yeah.
All right. No, very good. Very good. So looking back over everything you've learned, what surprised you the most about yourself, and what would you say was the best lesson that you learned from another individual in your training coming up?
That's a wonderful question. I think that surprised me about myself. You know, if someone had told me that you're gonna be right here, resistant, because let's say on a starting line we were probably 10 with that same passion, and then when you look at who got to the finish line, you see just probably a few people. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
It's not gonna be an easy path. I mean, I don't think that if I have to become a doctor, I would just say, hey, you know what, it would be an easy path. If I want to be a lawyer, it's just gonna be an easy path. Everybody gonna come with their own struggle, their own turbulence, but you gotta react. And the only thing that will make you react and probably survive all those hurdles will be that passion, that driving force. And it's not something that I can teach you. It's not something that I can teach
It's that drive.
to any individual. I can teach you what is wrong, what is right. Again, you're gonna get some advice, but that thing need to come from yourself. You gotta build that thing up. I mean, I wish I can give you the right formula, but that doesn't exist. The rest, yeah, you're gonna have all the support, but again, at the end of the day, it's gonna be you making that happen. So, what was the second question?
Just what surprised you most? Like, was there a teacher, an instructor that really influenced you, and kind of like you had an aha moment?
Okay, that's a wonderful question, but I will revert that. I think that I'm lucky enough because I would say the people who truly probably inspire me was my parents. Like that wonderful statement you got here, education is not the learning of the facts, but training of the mind to think. That's a powerful statement. That's Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein probably came before myself and yourself and my parents. But my parents was ingrained to us. I mean, you don't even understand, but they would tell you all the time, kids, education is the most important thing in life that will bring you, us as a family outside of poverty. Meaning what? Okay, I don't probably understand, but maybe if I didn't reach that high level of education, I would probably never become better than my parents. They were saying, hey, the only thing that will bring us out of poverty, you gotta go to school, you gotta be educated. What does that mean? I cannot even tell you what does that mean today. But when I look at myself, I probably look at my siblings, maybe we were lucky. And because of that, we changed the dynamic of my family. I did better than my father, I did better than my mom. So what I want my kids to do better than me. So I'm gonna push the same momentum, I'm gonna push the same message. It doesn't matter. They probably, my kids, they're here, they're born here, right? So they're kind of ahead of the game.
Right.
So they don't want to stop there, or they want to be better than me.
Right.
They want to accomplish everything faster because I show them the tricks that I learned through my path. Ways.
Yeah, America, we have so much opportunity here.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. And I've lived overseas, and you know it a lot more because you grew up overseas.
Yeah.
These young folks, I mean, even when I grew up, didn't realize what opportunity I really had and how far ahead of the game we really are here in America.
Yeah.
If we'll just take advantage of it. The problem is we just kind of rest on our laurels and we're like, yeah, whatever. And oh my goodness, if I could go back over, there's so much I would change, but it's the good Lord's blessed me and put me where I'm at today, and I'm just it's crazy looking back, but then again, I wouldn't change anything because the education that I got through my own life is what's got me to where I'm at today.
Yeah.
So
I mean, absolutely.
So,
it's just hard. I was born where I had one system, so I'm kind of lucky because you throw me back to Cameroon or in Africa, I would manage because I have that.
right.
And I transitioned prior to the US, I transitioned to Europe. You throw me in Europe, I would manage because I got some times there and I got few education, so I know how the system works. You bring me to America, I've been here, so I will manage. So I'm lucky. And a lot of people just have one thing on them. They can play that well, but it's really hard. If you have to compete with someone who's been around and have the experience was really ingrained to the culture, really understand the culture, it's really hard for you coming from one spot and try to be that person.
Yeah.
It's just something simple, and I don't think that is a miracle. It's just like, okay, I just have it. I mean, you put me in Africa, I'm gonna give you some answer. I say, hey, go here, go here, go here, because you don't have the experience. I do have the experience.
Right.
So it's something that can powerful, and I can see that sometimes here when they throw an issue on you, and you see people that just been here, never leave probably the state, and struggling to come up with something, and you're like, oh no, that's easy.
Yeah.
So
No, and I learned a lot when I lived overseas and in the military, and so from other folks, just oftentimes there's folks in the States that'll just stay in their same town, grow up in their same town, never leave their town, work in the same town, and there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, there's a whole lot of stuff that in this big world that we live in that
I mean, it's important today. I mean, probably 20 years, 25 years ago,
right,
it was kind of different. It was maybe okay, but I think today it's not okay.
There's a need to explore. And
There's a need to explore. Go out there and find out.
And I was watching every morning. Part of my morning routine, I watch videos, motivational videos, and just kind of get my positive thinking going. And yesterday, one of the videos that I was watching, a gentleman was talking about careers and jobs and going on vacation.
Yeah.
So when we go on vacation, we get all excited. And we're, the 2 days before we're going to go on vacation, we get all of our work done in like half of the day, and we're, getting everything together. And when you talk about your passion for flying, I think that probably in my mind, you're like that every day you get to go to work. You're excited like you're going on vacation because you're going to get in that pilot seat and you're going to get to fly that plane to a destination. And, and so I think that, like in my career, I can sometimes get flat and I'm like, okay, well, no, I need to challenge myself. I need to step up and make it like exciting again to go to work. And so, but my wife will tell you I'm excited every morning. It doesn't matter what's going on, but I'm always excited that I'm alive another day. And so, developing that passion, that comes from within.
Yeah.
And it also comes with blocking out a lot of negativity in your life from other people. Other people will tell you can't do something, or I've got many different business ventures, and I'll have people ask me, well, why are you doing that? And to me, it's not about the money. My goal is to make a difference in other people's lives. And so if I can bring happiness to somebody else, that's what puts a smile on my face and in my heart. And Absolutely. So, that's just my passion is a passion for life, for helping others. And so I understand that passion that you feel. And if you're out there, say you're middle-aged or whatever, and you're working a job and you're just just miserable Monday through Friday, and you're drinking on Saturday and Sunday because Monday's coming around again, or maybe you work 6 days a week or 7 days a week and you're not off on the weekends, whatever the case may be, I just encourage you to take a look and see if there's some other opportunity. I know financial strugglers, I've been there, but yes, see if there's a change. No sense in living like that to get to retirement, to be miserable in retirement. So,
I mean, again, I think most of the people, they fear to go for the change. The change, if you have to change something in your life, you come with fears. Because it's unknown, the other side of the line. You're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Fear. Could I cross the line?
Yeah.
So again, you got to revert and really think about the passion, and really think how you will have that force. What would be the driving force when you just jump the line without even asking someone? I'm just going. Right. I'm just gonna go in the water and I'm gonna drive and whatever I gotta do. So you gotta get that on you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it happened overnight.
Yeah. It takes a while to build up courage.
Exactly. It takes time.
And fear is a mechanism that's there. I mean, it's put into us to protect us.
Exactly.
So, like if we're out in the woods and we hear a ruffle in the bushes, automatically our fear sensors come up because it's a protection mechanism that I might either have to fight or I might have to run.
Yes.
So depending on what's going to come out of the brush. And so that's ingrained into us to help keep us alive. But at the same time, we've got to be a fighter too, to overcome the fear and realize that, that was just a bunny rabbit in the bush.
Yeah.
So we can't get amped up every time. And I think that fear does stop us from stepping forward and making those next steps and to accomplish our goals and to seek our passions. Is fear holds us back a lot, but we can conquer that fear. And I had a fear of heights a couple of years ago. And so, I mean, just terrified of heights. I mean, I can't, like if I get in a big tall building and it's glass to the floor to the ceiling, if I walked over, I'm just like, just panicking. Could fly all day long. I love being in a plane, but I have stuff that's surrounding me. But if it's all clear and it's open, so I started a Christmas light business last year. Okay. And I watched videos every night on my phone, YouTube, before I went to bed, of people on those towers with the big, the big radio towers, working up there and just looking around down, and my heart would just do. And so I overcame my fear by just watching videos. And so then I get up on the ladder. I still get shaky every now and then, but now I've overcome that fear in my life. And the next fear I've got to conquer is my fear of snakes. Can't stand snakes. Yeah. But I'm going to work on it, So I'm going to watch some videos on snakes.
Come on, Cameroon. We're going to fix you up.
So, but yeah, conquering fears is, I think, it is one of the biggest things that holds us back. Yeah. And we've got so much potential in us, and we don't even realize it. And I think that that fear aspect is, it is in there,
and because you're talking about potential, I mean, I think the good thing also is to surround yourself with people who can pump you up, because they can read something off that you probably don't see, or it might take you sometimes, for you to figure the thing out. But someone else will just, hey, Chris, that's exactly what you got to do, and just go.
Right. We have blind spots, and we need to have that peer group around us that kind of, there's mentors and helpers that, you're absolutely right. Surround yourself with good people. Absolutely. So we're running about 38 minutes so far into the podcast, and so I'm going to kind of wrap things up. One of the questions that I like to ask my guests is, if you could put a billboard in front of every high school in America or in Cameroon, what would you put on that billboard?
Like a statement, message. Like when they walk out, they open the door. I would just say, dream big, and don't let anyone stop you. What I mean by that, maybe dream big and just start to follow that passion. I'm just using the driving force that I create into myself. Whatever dream that you have, because you dream big, no one can stop you. You can defeat a lot of turbulence that will be in front of you. You can defeat a lot of people that doesn't believe you
Mm-hmm.
because you only see something. It's probably a narrow vision.
Mm-hmm.
But again, because the folks that doesn't align or they are not inside your vision, they cannot see what you see.
Mm-hmm.
And that should be your driving force.
Dream big.
Just dream big.
Mhm.
Whatever dream that you have crossing your mind,
Mm-hmm.
pursue that.
Mm-hmm.
It might take you one day to get to the end of it. It might take you 20 years to get to the end of it. But when you get to the end of it, you're so powerful. And you always flash back and say, I'm really glad that I stick to that dream right here. Because you're never gonna be miserable like you were describing that earlier.
Yes.
You're never gonna think about something else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I put on a
Dream big.
on a billboard.
Dream big.
Just
I
dream
like it.
big.
I like it.
Just dream big. Again, that brain function.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're lucky enough. I mean, push that, make it explode for some reason. I don't think that someone will come to you and say, hey, because you got this imagination going on, you are trying to invent something, and they'll be like, okay, you know what? I'm a surgeon, let me go in there and I'm going to take that out.
Mm-hmm.
We have not seen, I have not seen that kind of surgeon come and say, hey, you know what? I will make you dumb and I'm going to make you stupid. I'm going to just go to your brain and take this section out and you become dumb and stupid. No. I have not seen that.
Right.
I have not seen that doctor taking away a dream from someone's mind or a dream from
Mm-hmm.
someone's brain.
Mm-hmm.
So dream big.
Dream big. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
And so, yes, absolutely. One of the things that I forgot about is you have like a school or something that you educate young folks in aeronautics and stuff like that.
Yes, I'm part of an organization,
Mhm.
and the vision of the organization is just to basically increase the minority in aerospace.
Okay.
Because the number today we're talking about diversity, inclusion, and inclusion,
Mhm.
equity and inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
We never spoke about that, I don't know, probably 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a movement today.
Mm-hmm.
So the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals is 45 years of age.
Wow.
So back in 1976, 3 major airline black pilots were sitting in a hotel room and they decided that they want to increase the number of minority in aviation,
Mm-hmm.
in aerospace, and they create this organization.
Awesome.
So I'm part of the organization because I truly believe that we all have equal opportunity. Doesn't matter of your skin color, your race, your religion.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you can dream about something,
Mm-hmm.
my goal or any adults around you
Mhm.
is to push you forward, because again, your timeline, you never know. When you were born, you don't know if you will stop breathing tomorrow or you're going to stop breathing in 100 years.
Right.
So when you walk away from this world,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be remembered like Albert Einstein.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know this guy.
Right. But his legacy lives on.
Exactly.
His
He was
legacy-
probably a bad guy when he was around people. I don't know, but
Right.
the only thing I know is Albert Einstein. Whatever I'm using today,
Right.
because he probably sat down, he put stuff together
Right.
for me to be able to use that.
Right.
So I can decide that, okay, as a human being, I went through my path, I struggled, and I was lucky enough that the dream that I carry really pushed me forward the way I want to be. I can decide just to stay home. I can decide just to go to work and stay home. I don't want to share that with nobody else. I don't want to give advice to someone else.
Right.
And the day I'm stopped breathing, what truly
Am I leaving behind?
I'm leaving behind?
Mm-hmm.
What did I do better for the society I was in? What do I do better for the people I deal with? Or what do I do better for the folks that probably I love or I didn't love or dislike? So that's what I'm thinking. I mean, we all should somehow step back and just thinking, what are you leaving behind? You can decide to leave something bad, that's fine. You can decide to leave something good. But again, there's so many organizations out there. It's like a dream. I mean, I don't say sign up for every single one of them. Just pick one. I mean, we look what Mother Teresa she did in India. Just pick one. Just go and help someone else. Pay it forward. Doesn't matter if you get a lot of money. Like you create your own foundation, doesn't matter.
Right.
Just say, okay, you know what? I'm stable enough today. I'm gonna just help one kids. Or I'm gonna help one adults, and just do it. We all human beings. Don't help the cat. Don't help the dogs. Yeah, they are species, but they are not human beings. So helping other human beings.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's so much to that we could go into.
Yeah, I mean,
with just having, and there's so much joy that's brought to an individual who helps others.
Yes.
So people, I mean, you can have all the money in the world. And I know people that are very wealthy that are just absolutely miserable because they never help anybody else. They give to charity because they kind of, and it's not really a giving to charity.
Yeah, it's not.
It's kind of like, oh, here, just so that people will leave me alone, or I can pat myself on the back and go to sleep at night, and not genuinely helping. And I think that there's so much wisdom from the older generation to give to the younger generation. And there's stuff that we can learn from the younger generation too, that has grown up with a cell phone in their hand. So it's just constantly a learning and constantly a helping others. And one of the things that I like to do is when I go through a drive-through, I'll pay for the people's food behind me.
Yeah, give it. Oh,
and I drive off, and they don't know who I am. Like, I pay for your food, and so it just I'll roll forward a little bit, and then I'll see them looking back and forth, and then they'll look, and then I'll just drive off, and you see that But you're creating joy, and what I'm hoping happens, and it's been on the radio, TV, or whatever, where it's happened, where somebody pays, and then the next person pays for the person behind them, and so that's what I hope happens in that situation. But I know it probably doesn't happen. But there's little things that you can do for folks that are just amazing. You don't know what somebody else is going through, and just a kind word, a touch on the arm. Hello, I know that we're kind of in a COVID environment now, but just something of that nature makes such a huge difference in somebody else's life. And I know that that's happened to me when I was younger and didn't have anything, and just diapers show up on the doorstep or something like that, and don't know who did it. But that was really encouraging to me and my family. And so, you're absolutely right. Encourage others. Encourage others. Help others.
I mean, that would make the society maybe better. I don't know. I wish maybe I will still around and see the result and see how it improve my small participation in the whole entire dynamic and the whole entire structure of the world. I helped in this section. That's me. I did that. I'm proud of what I did. I changed something.
Yeah, you never know what who you're inspiring and what they will become later on in life. And one word of encouragement, one word of direction.
You're old enough, you're wearing your glasses, or you're probably on a wheelchair, and someone say, "Hey, remember me?" Say what?
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't remember you.
And they bring you the whole entire story,
and did for them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Absolutely. So we all influence each other, whether it's either positive or negative.
Yeah.
You're either positively influence everybody around you, or you're negatively pulling down everybody around you. So,
but when I wake up in the morning, I think what I throw out there before I go back to bed is positive.
Absolutely.
Now, someone can read that. Maybe it's negative. That's good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, it's been awesome having you on our podcast today. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'm sure that we'll have you on in future episodes if you'll come back to us, and we'll glean from some of your wisdom and knowledge. We appreciate it, and thank you for being our guest today. And so for Career Library, I'm Chris Jones. We're signing off for today. Hope you'll join us on the next episode. If you want to make sure that you don't miss any of our episodes, please hit that subscribe button.
Yeah. Turn a 10 piece to a 20 quick. I got money busting. busting out the money clip. Make a call and hit another lick. Someone get the money counter, I can keep on thumbing it. Turn a 10 piece to a 20 quick. I got money busting out the money clip. Make a call and hit another lick. Someone get the money counter, I can keep on thumbing it. Okay, I'ma hit for 20 off a laptop. In a Zoom meeting, making money is my backdrop. Ballpoint base hit harder than a slap shot. Flew out my baby, told her run me like I'm Epcot. Whoa, whoa, I've been doing road on the go, go. Get a bag and flip it, that's for sure, yeah, for sure, show. That was never talk about nothing. Turn it down and go get you some money. Turn a 10 piece to a 20 quick. I got money busting out the money clip. Make a call and hit another lick. Someone get the money counter, I can keep on thumbing it. Turn a 10 piece to a 20 quick. I got money busting out the money clip. Make a call and hit another lick. Someone get the money counter, I can keep on thumbing it. Eyes on the money, my brothers got my back. Streets moving funny, so I been holding strap. Not playing defense, we been on the attack. Plotting and scheming, how we gon' get it back. Designer all on you, but you can't buy the swag. No Miris, those foo-foo, I can see the tag. You can bet if I spendin' this, cause I get it back. I'm 5G, your dollar, I can see the lag. All I ever wanted was to have it all. Got close, never froze, had to risk it all. As a little boy, I wish I was a little tall. Never made the league, I found other ways to let me ball. Turn a 10 piece to a 20 quick. I got money busting out the money clip. Make a call and hit another lick. Someone get the money counter, I can keep on thumbing it. Turn a 10 piece to a 20 quick. I got money busting out the money clip. Make a call and hit another lick. Someone get the money counter, I can keep on thumbing it.